So that was the last thing remaining, is the plate. We still need to create the number plate. Okay, so the number plate kind of looks like this this mirror thing, but instead of using that, let's create our own, because why? It's so easy to create stuff in Lightwave 3D. You barely notice the work that you're doing. Alright, so let me click another box, go back, make sure that it's right at the front of the bumper, which is right there. Right, so enter, and let's select these points that are opposite each other and use rounder in the multiply tab. Rounder, N for numeric, enter twice, deselect, select these two, N for numeric, oh sorry, rounder, N for numeric, enter. Oh, wait a second, I had selected too many points, so unselect that. All symmetry is on, so make sure symmetry is off when you're doing things that are across the aisle. Alright, so let's go back, rounder, N, enter twice, and goody. That looks nice, but we can't see it, so let's bevel it again. B for bevel, N for numeric, enter. Now we can see it. Awesome. So let's send this to the back as well. Select all for that. And let me enlarge this and use Shift V for mirror and Z axis. Now I probably can't see this. I'm not sure where it is, so let me move things a bit around to see it. Oh, actually it went to the right place. Good. Enter to drop the tool. Okay, so plate at the back, plate at the front. Alright, this is awesome. So let me save this. Finally, I'm going to save this as a car. And now I can start adding surfaces to this to make it look more appealing. So let me go to the surface editor. Instead of the principled BSDF, let's use the standard. Let's select a color from here. I could simply just create a color by clicking and dragging these. Something like that. That's good enough. So that's the entire default color. So let's color some stuff. You can name these things whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. So the grill, for example, I think the grill would look good. Oh, let me make sure symmetry is on. It makes things easier to select. If you end up use Shift, by the way, to select multiple things, and leave the Shift key. Release the Shift key and select something to deselect it. Select all, Q for surface, and let's say grill. I want a color. Not really sure what color the grill. Doesn't even matter because you can change these colors as you go. Save, something like that. Okay, so this, the inside of the tire, and I'm going to call that the rim. Q, rim. Okay, save, and then I go to the tire itself. I want the tire a little bit darker than the rim. Q, tire, and let's make it darker. Save, something like that. I don't know if that works, but you get the idea. So the lights, though, I'll click on the light and select all. Q, these are front lights, so this is a front light, and these will probably be, what color can we select? Something like yellowish, something like that. Save. Now as you go to the surface edit, you notice that the default is principled BSDF, whatever that is. Select all these, shift select and select standard. I like standard better. So let's go to front light and increase the luminosity to maybe 90%. That's much better. Looks more like light. You could add a bit of reddish yellow or whatever you fancy, something like that. So you can go around and put whatever colors you want for your windows, for example. Q, windows. Let's try a slight blue of some sort. Light blue, something like that. Okay, so these are cartoon characters, so don't get too hung up on what looks what. Let's try the bumper as well. The bumper, these two here. Select all. Q, bumper. Let's try a little oh god, I'm terrible with colors. This doesn't look right at all, but there we go. The plate, probably a white would do. Plates, let's go to the maximum color, white, something like that. And that's pretty much the car that we've created. Oh, we need a bit of handles here before we go, so let's make some handles, shall we? Box, let's go to the handles, otherwise people won't have anything to use to open the doors. So let's go back here and create some sort of handles. Enter. Let's add a bevel. B N, done. Okay, there we go. So let me copy that over to the backside. Copy, paste, Shift C, Shift V, T for move, and let's select both of these and use the V key. Shift V for mirror, N for numeric, X-axis, and that's it. We are done. There we go. Now that looks much better. Okay, so that's the cartoony looking car with Lightwave 3D. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and looking forward to some more tutorials in the future. Oh, I didn't put these lights, you know, the rear lights, something like this. Let me do that. Rear lights. I think these are usually red if I'm not mistaken. Save that, but still surface editor. Let's go to the rear lights, add it standard. I like standard, and select a better one. Luminosity as usual, these are lights, so something like 90 will do. And oh, that it doesn't look so nice, does it? You need a little bit of definition, but depending on what you're going for, this could equally work. Let me try 50 luminosity, and these holders in here, the light holders, I think a black would be better. Q, let's just name this one black, shall we? Say okay, save. Okay, that's much better. All right, I think that does it. You get the idea of how easy it is to make low poly stuff in Lightwave 3D. Pretty easy and out. Okay, so let's see how we can render this. So to start with, we go to layer 2 to create a background. Put layer 1 in wireframe mode for reference. So we still have that old tire there, so we just hit delete to remove it. create a box for the backdrop. Click and drag in the top view, make sure it's centered like that. Okay, so hit enter. Let's move it below the tires of the car, something like that. And we're going to have to bend it a little bit in front, so deselect the front Y for rotation. Make sure you are in mouse mode and not selection mode, mouse mode, so that the rotation happens to pivot on the mouse position. So deselect those, and oh, I think maybe we went a bit too far, so let me just rotate from here, deselect Y again, and like that. All right, so make sure if this is not the surface you have, select this and create a surface of its own. Q, let's say background, let's make it white, select, and we're done. Let's see everything in perspective view. There we go. So save, and let's send this to layout. Send to layout and wait for layout to load. Okay, so first thing, hit D to make sure that the grid square size is actually 1 meter. All right, let's go to the camera view and hit the camera. Make sure the camera is selected. Click and drag forward to move close to the car. Spacebar for rotation and rotate. Spacebar for position. Right click, move up, and just position it the way you want it to be. So I want something like this. Okay, so as you can see, the backdrop is not covering the whole thing entirely, so let's select it. H for stretch, and let's stretch it a bit more. Maybe let's stretch it from the top axis so we don't move too many things. Hold down Control to avoid stretching other axes. All right, that looks much better. So let's go to the viewport render in camera view to see what we have. All right, so everything is blown out right now. So first of all, we go to lights. Let's hit the light. Let me reduce the intensity to 2. Let's go to the render GI options and reduce the intensity of the global illumination to 50%. Okay, something like that. Let's go out of VPR mode, create a light, a new point light. All right, so raise it above the car. Properties and select a color. So this one I'm going to go for a purple. Make sure that shadows is off. I don't want this one creating shadows. Let me reduce the intensity to 2 as well. All right, so let me copy this light, send it to the front, close to the boot. P for properties, and let's do a complementary color here, something like green. Okay, something like that. Don't know if that's really the best color, but what can we do? So let's go to surface editor again. Let's add a bit of reflection on the ground, the background. Let's make sure it's on standard. Let's take it back to white and add some reflection, 10%. And let's also add some reflection on the default, that's the body. Let's add a bit of reflection, maybe 10% as well. Let's go back to VPR, and everything looks a bit blown out, so we go back to the render tab, GI options, and actually it's not so bad. Let it render. If the intensity of the lights is too much, we can always go back and reduce them, or we could reduce the global illumination intensity to something like 40%. but I think this is fine for now. So I'm not going to, I'll press F9 for a render. Not going to bore you with rendering times, so I'll just show you the image when it's done. Okay, so I did it after the render process. That's the result that we have. Looks pretty cool. So that's how you create a low poly car and render it in Lightwave 3D. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.